it important to learn about this stuff now? You are in middle school. For some of you, your bodies are changing, what you think about is changing, and you want to know what is going on. You might be thinking, am I normal? Is all of this normal? Being a teenager can be super fun, but can also be super stressful. I want to make sure that you have the right information when learning about your bodies so that you can make the best and healthiest decisions to take care of your changing body and your changing mind, and so you can make smart decisions about relationships and sex. So, we are going to start off by learning the basic parts of the male and female reproductive system. When I say the words reproductive system, what does that mean? The reproductive system is the parts of your body that are changing during puberty and are used for sex and to make a baby. The reproductive system is not just what you can see on the outside, but there are plenty of parts on the inside of your body that are important too.
I'm going to be using different words like penis and vagina, which sound funny and might make you feel awkward and laugh when you hear them, but that is normal. The important part is you know the correct words for all of the different parts of the reproductive system.
We are going to start off by covering the male reproductive system. So boys, that's you. Let's first see what we could see on the outside. Most of what we see on the outside is the penis and the scrotum. The penis comes in all shapes and sizes: long, short, wide, skinny, uncircumcised, and circumcised. I'll go into what these parts do in a little bit, but first, let's see what's on the inside. This is a view of the inside of the male reproductive system if we cut him right down the middle, like this. So let's take a look at it again. I labeled the penis and the scrotum, which is what we just learned about, and here are all the parts on the inside. But don't worry, we will go through them one by one.
The main point of the male reproductive system is to make sperm. And to deliver those sperm. Now, sperm are teeny tiny cells that are used in order to make a baby.
Here is a slide with millions of sperm on it. I used a microscope to zoom in 400 times so you can see just how tiny they are. See those stringy things that look like hair? Each of those strings is one sperm. So, each part of the male reproductive system does something to help make and deliver the sperm. Let's find out how each part helps. First up is the testicles, also known as testes. The testes' job is to make the sperm, so they are kind of like a factory. Next up is the epididymis, which sits on top of the testes and stores the sperm after they are made, kind of like how a refrigerator stores food until it is ready to be used. Next is the vas deferens. This is the tunnel where sperm travel in when they are ready to be used. Next up the prostate and seminal vesicles add nutrients and fluid for the sperm, so that the sperm have the energy to keep moving on their long journey. It's kind of like how marathon runners stop and get water during their race so that they can stay hydrated. Next is the bladder. The bladder isn't part of the reproductive system, but it does store urine until you are ready to pee it out. Kind of like how a toilet stores pee until you flush it. Last is the urethra. This is where sperm and urine travel on their way out of the body, but not at the same time. The urethra is like the pipe that everything travels down once you flush the toilet. Now, let's quickly return to the penis. The penis is the end of the tunnel where sperm exit the body. We will talk more about how this works in future videos. Finally, let's talk about the scrotum.
Scrotum.
So, boys, you probably have noticed a really important feature of the scrotum. Anybody ever been hit there? What does it feel like?
The scrotum's job is to protect the testicles. It also keeps the testes cool because the testes factory works best at a little cooler temperature than the rest of the body.
And now, it's time to review.
First are the testicles, which make the sperm. Next is the epididymis, which stores the sperm. The sperm then travel down the vas deferens, which is a long tunnel. Next, the seminal vesicle and prostate deliver nutrients and fluid to the sperm. Finally, the sperm head down the urethra and leave the body. Now we are going to talk about the female reproductive system. Girls, that's you.
The main purpose of the female reproductive system is to make eggs. And to send those eggs to meet up with sperm in order to make a baby.
Eggs are tiny, about the width of a piece of hair, but they are still much larger than sperm. Each part of the female reproductive system helps to make and deliver eggs and helps to make a baby if there is one. First, let's see what's on the outside. The main parts we see on the outside are the clitoris, labia, hymen, urethra, vagina, and anus. We will go over what each of these do in a little bit. The outside parts of the female reproductive system come in all different shapes and sizes. Now, let's see what's on the inside. This is the view of the inside of the female reproductive system if we cut her halfway between front and back. Like this. The main parts we see on the inside are the ovary, fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, and vagina. Now, let's go through them one by one. First up is the ovary. The ovary is the factory for making eggs. Next up is the fallopian tube. This is the long tunnel that the egg travels down to get to the uterus. Uterus! If the egg meets up with sperm, the uterus is where the baby grows and develops. When a woman is pregnant, the uterus gets large and stretchy, like a balloon, so it can hold the growing baby.
baby does not grow in the stomach. Here's the uterus, and here's the stomach. They are not the same thing. Uterus, stomach. Uterus, stomach.
The baby does not grow in the stomach.
If the egg does not meet up with sperm, which is what happens most of the time, the lining that builds up in the uterus sheds and heads out through the vagina. In between the uterus and vagina is the cervix, which acts like a door to separate them. Lastly, there's the vagina.
Woo!
The vagina has 5 functions. It's where blood from your period exits your body. If you use a tampon, this is where it is placed. If you choose to have vaginal sex, this is where the penis goes. If you use some methods of birth control, this is where that's inserted. And if you choose to have a baby, this is where the baby exits.
Go back to the outside.
First up is the labia. The labia are protective flaps that keep out germs. Think of them as curtains that keep out bugs. Next is the urethra. The urethra is not part of the reproductive system, but it is the hole where the pee comes out. It is different than the vagina. They are 2 separate holes.
Ooh.
Next, the hymen is the skin that surrounds the vagina. Next is the clitoris. This is a part that is pretty sensitive to touch, just like the penis is. Lastly, this is your anus. It is not part of the reproductive system, but it is where you poop from.
And now it's time to review.
The ovary makes the eggs. The fallopian tube sends those eggs to the uterus. The uterus holds the egg and the growing baby if there is one. The cervix separates the uterus and vagina. And the vagina has many functions, including how period blood and a baby exit the body. On the outside, the labia are protective flaps. The hymen is the skin around the vagina. The clitoris is the sensitive part. The urethra is where you pee from. And the anus is where you poop from. Finally, maybe your body isn't changing yet. Maybe you don't feel right with your body. It's normal to ask questions and wonder if you are normal. But if you are concerned in any way, maybe that you don't seem to fit, male or female, or maybe if your genitals, or your outside parts, don't seem to match what you think you should have, if you can, talk to your doctor. If not, the school nurse, guidance counselor, parent, whoever you feel most comfortable with. Finally, there are many resources available if you want to read more and can help answer some of your questions, such as kidshealth.org, which is one of my personal favorites.
Well, that's it for this video. Next time, I'm going to talk about
Puberty.